an illusion. There is no God. There is no individual self. In one sense, they say everything is God, but God's not a person. So Lord Chaitanya represented the other school. God is eternally a person. The individual souls, they are eternally persons, and they're eternally related to God as His loving servants. So in his discussions with these philosophers, Lord Chaitanya established this philosophy, and he converted them. He converted the leader of these impersonalist philosophies to his point of view. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he became a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. After spending some time in Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya then went on a tour of all of South India. He went everywhere, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and he performed many miracles. For example, he delivered the leper Vasudev. Just by touching him, he cured his disease completely. And he continued his process of not only chanting the Hare Krishna mantra very widely, but converting many philosophers of different schools, including some Buddhist philosophers that he met there. And at a spot on the Godavari River, he delivered very confidential teachings to a devotee named Ramananda Roy. Now, Lord Chaitanya was born a Brahmin, the highest caste. He was a sannyasi, a member of the highest Vedic social order. But this Ramananda Roy, he was born in the low class, and he was not a sannyasi. But it's very amazing what happened. Despite his low social position, this Ramananda Roy was actually a very advanced devotee of Krishna. Kiba Vripra Kiba Nasi Sudra Kenanai Ye Krishna Tattva Veta Se Guru Hai. It's one of the foundational teachings of Lord Chaitanya's revolutionary spiritual movement in India. That it didn't matter what your caste was, whether you were high caste or low caste. These things are all external, Lord Chaitanya said. The real thing is, what do you know about Krishna? So to personally demonstrate this, there was a very interesting arrangement by which Lord Chaitanya took the position of being the student, asking the questions, and allowing Ramananda Roy to give the answers. And then in the end, Lord Chaitanya did something very amazing. He displayed to Ramananda Roy his actual nature as being the combined form of Radha and Krishna. So it was a very amazing set of events that took place in connection with Ramananda Roy. Lord Chaitanya continued further south to Sri Rangam in the very south of India. And there, he continued his wild chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. And then he returned ultimately to Jagannath Puri. And then he decided he wanted to go to Vrindavan, because that's the place where Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago in India. So he began a journey from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan. So first he crossed a very wild area here, which is called the Jarikhanda forest. And actually, if you see the way the temple is decorated tonight, it's a replica. It's meant to suggest the Jarikhanda forest. And in the Jarikhanda forest, there were no people to chant Hare Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya chanted Hare Krishna in such a way that even the wild animals, the tigers, the monkeys, the elephants, they all began chanting Hare Krishna and dancing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And you can see one of those dancing tigers right there. So that's the secret meaning of these decorations of the temple, this evening. You can also see on the altar the dancing animals. You can see them there on the different altars, the tigers, the deer, the animals. Very, very wonderful decorations of the temple this evening. So then, he crossed this Jharikanda forest and he came to Varanasi, very sacred city in India, on the Ganges River. And he came to this place, the Manikarnika Ghat. Ghat is a bathing place. So this is the most important bathing place at Varanasi. And at this place, he began chanting, the Hare Krishna mantra. And everyone there joined in this chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra with Lord Chaitanya. We can see him there more closely. And then he visited with one of his followers the Vishveshvara temple, which is a Shiva temple in Varanasi. And we may wonder about that. Well, what was he doing? A devotee, Krishna himself, taking the role of a devotee of Krishna. Why was he going to the Shiva temple? Because the Vaishnavas understand Vaishnavanam yata shambhu. Shiva is a great devotee of Krishna. So, of course, he went to visit the temple of this great devotee. Then he went from there to this place, Panchaganga Ghat, where long ago, at the time of Lord Chaitanya, there used to be a very big temple of a deity of Krishna called Bindu Madhava. And then later, during the Muslim invasions, that temple was destroyed, and now this big mosque is there at that place. But the deity is still there in a small temple next to the mosque, the Bindu Madhava deity of Krishna that Lord Chaitanya saw 500 years ago when he visited Kashi or Varanasi. And as usual, in front of the Bindu Madhava temple, he engaged in big sankirtan, big chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So he went from Puri across the Jharikanda forest to Varanasi, and then he went to Vrindavan. And when he was in Vrindavan, he just entered into total ecstatic trance on Krishna's Leela, Krishna's pastimes. And the animals there in Vrindavan, they understood, oh, this is Krishna come back in this strange new form. So the animals were coming up to him, remembering him, licking him, because they understood, this is our Krishna who has come back again. And now Krishna appeared in Vrindavan 5,000 years ago. But after he left, many of the places of his pastimes were lost. So one of the reasons why Lord Chaitanya went to Vrindavan was to rediscover the lost pastime places of Krishna. For example, he was looking everywhere for Radhakund and Shamakund. These are two ponds, two bodies of water that were very sacred to Krishna, very special places where Krishna and Radha engaged in very confidential pastimes 5,000 years ago. But when Lord Chaitanya went to Vrindavan 500 years ago, nobody could tell him where those places were. So at this place, he sat down, and with his transcendental vision, looking across some rice fields, he could see the locations of Radhakund and Shamakund. And then later, his followers excavated the kundas and began, Raghunath Das Goswami in particular, one of his followers, began to build the nice pathways and ghats and temples that we see at these places when we visit them today. But the only reason we can go there and see these places today is because the Lord